Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Today I am bringing you a Sola Wood Flower collaboration. Now I'm sure you have seen tons of other creators recently sharing their own Sola Wood Flower projects and videos, and for very good reason. Sola Wood Flowers has some amazing products, so let me share with you what they sent me and then we will jump straight into the projects. The first thing I received is this already dyed assortment, and the name of this one is called Bohemian Bungalow, but they have tons of color combinations that you can choose from. Next, I got this mini flower assortment, and you get 50 assorted flowers in this pack. I decided to go with flowers that had both the skins, which is that brown part, and no skins on them, which is just the solely white flower. I also paid for this medium size set myself before Sola had reached out to me. And last, I received a few different paints of theirs, which I'm not sure how I feel about those, but we'll get into that in a little bit. For my first project today, I'm taking this shadow box that I found from the Goodwill. It was $2.99, and let me tell you guys, I'm a little disappointed. My Goodwill has changed their pricing structure, and everything is a little bit more expensive now. Let me know if you've noticed the same thing in your area. But what I'm going to do first is take the back off of this, unscrew everything. I don't want that glass piece that came in this, so I'm just removing that, and I'm going to keep that cardboard backing. Next, I'm going to paint my frame using my ivory chalk paint, and I did end up giving this 3 coats to really cover up that burgundy colored frame. To cover up those florals on the backing, I am taking this Crafters Square cardstock. It is white and it does have a little texture to it. And then using my Jot Dollar Tree brand glue stick, I'm going to adhere the cardstock paper down. I love using this glue stick method for something like this instead of Mod Podge, where I just simply need this to be a nice plain background. Once I have my cardstock attached to my cardboard, and I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and cut off the excess. And I'm just going to repeat that process for the second half, and don't worry about that seam, you're not even going to see it. Next, I'm taking some Jenga blocks along with my Star Bond super glue, and I am attaching 1 in each of the corners, and then I also add 4 into the center area of the inside part of my shadow box because I want that backing to sit up a little bit higher and further away from the front than it originally was. And I also use my Star Bond super glue to attach that cardboard piece to the Jenga blocks themselves, and I did not end up screwing this piece back in. Now comes the fun part. I am just taking various sizes and flower types, and I'm going to start arranging them throughout this shadow box. I really love these skinned florals and just like the added dimension that they gave to this piece. Most of what I used here were from the mini assortment, and then I did add in just a few of the medium sizes from the bag that I had purchased on my own because I wanted there to be a nice difference in sizes as well as the flower types. Once I was happy with the arrangement, I started taking my hot glue gun and just picking up a small section of the flowers, gluing those down in place, and then moving on to the next section so that I wouldn't forget where I had everything laid out. Once everything was glued down in place, I am taking the sawtooth hangers that came on the original piece, and I'm adding some E6000 to the ends of them so that I can make sure the hanger is nice and secure in place and it will not just pop right out. And here's how this one turned out. I absolutely love the neutralness of this piece. If you've been watching me for a while, you know I love my neutral home decor. The way I added the sawtooth hangers on the back, you could hang this piece vertically like I have here, or you could also hang it horizontal. I really love the vertical look of it, and this could fit in any small space. It will be available on my website, which is linked in my description box below. For project number 2, I am taking this Dollar Tree tray that I found in their like summer party decor, and I'm gonna take this really, really cheap white spray paint. I would not recommend using this. I don't even remember where I got it from. I think it's the cheap Walmart brand, possibly. But I ended up adding 5 layers of this spray paint, and I could still see those pineapples peeking through. So I decided to bring it inside and give it a coat of my Waverly Ivory chalk paint, and that did the trick. Once the chalk paint was dry, I'm going to add on a layer of my matte Mod Podge because we are going to cut out some vinyl on my Cricut machine, and I do not want the transfer tape to pull up any of that paint. Next, I cut out this phrase with my Cricut machine that says, "What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create." And this was a quote from Buddha. At least that is what I found online. Know someone will correct me in the comments if that is incorrect, but that's what I'm going with for this project. I promise I have not forgotten about those of you who have asked for a Cricut tutorial. I will be putting that together probably at the end of summer, so stay tuned. The 2 fonts that I used here were Agency FB for the regular text, and then the cursive is in Bixby Script Com, and I will add those in my description box below as well. Once I had everything weeded, I did cut each line out separately. I thought it would be a little bit easier to add the individual lines onto this tray rather than trying to transfer the whole thing at once. You could really do it either way. I just wanted to make sure that the what and you of each line lined up together. And adding on that Mod Podge layer, you can see here just how easily that transfer tape peels off. I also used Dollar Tree contact paper for this, put it against my shirt so it was also less sticky to begin with. Next, we are going to add the Sola Wood Flowers, and I am using the Bohemian Bungalow assortment that I received for this piece. I wanted to start out with that navy blue flower because I wanted that to be the biggest flower on this arrangement, and I wanted it to be an asymmetrical going up across like the bottom corner of this sign. So that's where I wanted the middle point to be. Next, I'm just taking various flowers and arranging them how I want them to look. I wanted a second flower to have that like mustardy orangish color, and only the lotus flower in this assortment was in that color. So I wanted something a little bit smaller. I ended up just mixing up some of my own paints that I had on hand and then painting one of the raw flowers. It was a smaller rose looking flower in this color so that I could tie it all together. Next, I started gluing down my florals in the arrangement, how I wanted them to look, and I am just adding some more medium sized flowers and then kind of cascading to a bit of a smaller flower. Now, once I had everything arranged where I wanted, I thought it was looking a little bare and it needed some greenery just to liven it up, make it look like a more realistic floral arrangement, and I think that was the perfect added detail. Once I was happy with the arrangement, I just had to add on my little Buddha, and then I also added a jute twine hanger to the back so that this could be hung up on the wall. And that was it for this piece. This will also be listed on my site. Aren't you guys so proud of me? I actually used some color in one of my decor pieces, and I absolutely love the way this one turned out. For project number 3, I don't want to call it a fail, but it is definitely not my favorite. So I'm starting out with this little corner wall shelf, or it was just like a floating shelf. I had these hanging on my wall. I have like 4 of them in my old house. I have not hung them up anywhere in my new house, so I thought it would be a great idea to use this as a bookend. So I ended up taking off all of those little metal hangers that you would use to hang it on the wall, and we're just going to turn it on its side and use this as a bookend. And here is where I'm going to test out the Sola Wood Flower paints. I'm using the color Midnight Express, which is a black. I'm adding some water into my bowl here, and then I added in a little bit of paint. And I was not very happy with the way these turned out, and it could have been a variety of things. It could have been user error. It could have been the color that I chose. Maybe I didn't use enough paint. Maybe I didn't use warm enough water. I don't know, but I just really did not like the way they looked in the end and ended up scrapping the flowers. So my thought here was to have like an ombre look with my flowers, and I wanted them to go from black to white, and also from larger to smaller, but that just really didn't end up working out. I could tell, like, after I had painted a few of the flowers and I started diluting the paint mixture and adding more water to it and just making it less black and getting into more of that white range, it was just looking really patchy, and I was like, I'll wait till they're dry. I'll see if maybe I like it a little bit better whenever they're dry. I didn't care for it. And you can see here I'm painting the mixture on. I also do on the next flower actually dip it. I get a larger bowl, we get a bigger boat, and we dip the flowers in to the water paint mixture, but I still didn't love the way it was looking. So I'll show you a clip here in just a minute of how they look dry. But in my opinion, they just looked really splotchy, really not covered well. So I'm wondering if I just didn't use enough paint, if that was the issue, if I didn't leave them dipped long enough. Like, I probably should have actually dunked the full flowers and let them sit there for a minute. I don't know what the problem was. I do have another color. I have 2 other colors. So I want to try this again, and I will put it in another video at some point whenever I get to that and hopefully figure it out. So definitely not saying that this is a bad product. I have seen plenty of other creators use the paints and have success with them. So it absolutely has to be something that I am doing wrong, or like I said, maybe it's just the color. So here you can see how they are dry. They dried a lot lighter than how they went on, which I'm not surprised. It absorbed into the wood. But like I said, they just look kind of blotchy and not really saturated like I was hoping they would be. And then the ones that were supposed to be lighter, when everything dried, they didn't look very different from the ones that were supposed to be like really deep black. So let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions for what I could have done wrong or what I could do different next time. Once I scrapped all of those black florals, I ended up just going with the raw flowers, and I used a combination of the skinned ones and the skinless ones. I did stick with my original plan of going from a larger to smaller arrangement, but I still just don't entirely love the way this one turned out. I think I used some flowers that were slightly too big for this piece to begin with, but I was running out of the minis And I wish there was more of a variety in the mini pack as well, because I would have liked to have been able to put different types of flowers next to each other and not looking like it was the same flower over and over, which is how I was starting to feel this piece looked. So here is the final project. I do still like the idea of having this as a bookend. I just don't really love how it executed, but let me know what you think in the comments. And here is a final look at our projects from today. Don't forget to check out the Sola Wood Flower website, linked in my description box below. They really do have some amazing products and incredible prices. That's all I got for you today, friends. I'll see you in the next one.